everyone. Good morning. I'm Brenda Mader, the director of the Hayes Arts Council, and I welcome you all to my very, very, very favorite project in the course of the year. Love Famous Figures. I love what it represents. I love the incredible work that fifth grade students have done. I love being here to share their incredible talent with all of you. This is wonderful. And thank you all for being here. It's so cool to watch your peers. And do we have some fourth grade students here? So any fourth grade, yeah? See, what's cool is fourth grade students, keep an eye out for what's happening because we're hopefully going to be seeing you guys up here next year, some of you guys that are here watching. It's very, very exciting. And talking about watching, one of the first things, that way, while the lights are up and nobody's being bothered, you can text somebody if you want. This whole event, courtesy of Tiger Media Network, Nick Schween, and our fabulous Luke LeCount tech director here at Beach Schmidt, we have got it set up so that everything is live streamed. So right now, people are listening to me all across the world, sure. Yeah, but somebody could be. And if you want to find that live stream link, go to the Hayes Arts Council Facebook page, and I think it's my most recent post. And in the course of there's a link. Just, click that, copy it. And so if there's anybody that would like to see one of these 30 brilliant performers today live or watch a bunch of them, they can do that through the live stream. The other cool thing is, because it is a live stream, we'll be saving it, and that will, within a few days, that will be going up on our website with pictures and images and things from today. So it's really wonderful. But again, you can find that live stream link that's carrying all of this live as it's going on today at the Hayes Arts Council Facebook page. Should be my most recent post. And we wouldn't be able to do this today without a lot of support from people, the teachers, the families that help make this possible. Also the support of our principal sponsor, the Hayes Rotary Club, who loves this project immensely and helps support it for us each year, the various things associated with it. We're so grateful for that. In fact, one member of the Rotary and a former board president of the Arts Council is been on our judging panel now for a number of years, loves this project. Janice Lee, one of our judges down here, and so we're so glad to have her back again. And our other judges also love this project and have been with us now for a number of years, some a lot of years. Next to Janice is Johnny Matlock, former music teacher here in the Hayes school systems, and now music studio, and I got to work with him many years on Hayes High musicals, and so he knows performing from the backside and the front side. So we're thrilled to have Johnny here. Mary Ann Thompson is the former director of the Kansas room at the Hayes Public Library. She's our history wizard, and it's probably been at least close to a couple of decades that Mary Ann served as a judge. So it's really great that they bring these wonderful things to the table. Great history. And next to Mary Ann is Linda Homan. Linda is also a former board member, as was Mary Ann. And Linda taught school for many years, directing the plays, in charge of the forensics, the speech teams, forensics teams. She's also a writer in her own right and poet. So they bring some great things to the table, none the least of which is a whole bunch of years of experience being here with the kids. And what they're going to be judging on today, so that everybody knows, and everybody kind of probably has the gist from the materials that would have gone home with the kids earlier so you'd know about it. There is 15 points that will be on the line about their material. What is the material? What kind of stuff did they present to us? But then also, how did they put it together? Did they actually sort of write a interesting little, 2.5, 3-minute script, a monologue? Because they're not giving a speech, they're performing in character. And did they write a good monologue? It's like a little bit about the playwriting they did. So that's 15 points. And then there is 25 points. The majority of the points is about their stage performances. Their acting, their projection, their diction, their eye contact, their movements, their connection as performing artists. And so that's 25 points. And then the final 10 points is their response to the impromptu question that one or two of these judges will provide them at the end of their performances. And as I told the young people, and it's a fabulous group this year, I told them, I said, don't let that throw you. These guys are not here to quiz them. It's not about putting them on the spot about any specific aspect of their life. Where it's like, oh my gosh, this is like, there is one correct answer. This is about them, giving them the opportunity to demonstrate their poise and to show that they really know their character. So it's like there can't really be any right or wrong answers. It's how you approach that. So there's that really cool element of uncertainty that most of the adults here wouldn't want to have to be subject to. But they got it. They got it in spades. They're really a wonderful group. So that's 10 points. So the max anybody could get is 50, which doesn't usually happen, but it could. And then when the scores come in, and the judges work independently, they don't collaborate. And so believe me, there are times when, what one finds, somebody else thought this was higher, low. It's really cool. But then I get those, and I have a scoring rubric I put that into. So every time any student, say, was ranked, they're going to rank their top 7. We do trophies for the top 5. If there's ties, we figure that out. But they rank the top 7. So if a student got a first place from one of the judges, I translate that into 7 points. If somebody got second, that translates into 6 points. If they were ranked 7th, that translates into 1 point. And then those all together get added up. And however many, the highest number of points that anybody has. So there's times that we've seen it, there's a contestant maybe not even ranked in the top 7 by one of the judges, because there's so many options. But they may still have gotten first and second place because maybe the judges who ranked him high. Or maybe somebody was in the pack the whole way. All the judges liked him, and they weren't as high or whatever, but their collective scores now have put him in a different category. So it's a really cool way. It's a subjective project, like all things with arts and opinions are. But we've got a pretty good system, and for the most part, it's not failed us. And I think you'll agree when it's all over, except there's always a few that you go, man, I wish we went down to 10th place, 15th place. But what's really cool is when it's all done before we do the trophies, every one of these talented young people comes out, and that's the first time that you will hear their name and their school, as well as their character. The judges don't get that info. All I've given them so far is the character and the character number, because we want this to be this totally anonymous thing. I mean, we know people know them, but for the most part, it's an anonymous thing, and it's only at the end when we introduce them to who they really are. And at that time, they're in center stage, getting a wonderful gold medal with drama masks on the front and engrave on the back to commemorate this event. And they all get that. And then we move into the trophy presentation. There'll be a 15-minute intermission, unless we shorten it since we're starting a little bit late. But that'll be in the middle. And it's just going to be great fun, and you're going to see some of the most fabulous, entertaining, and educational event experience and performances, conversations that you'll find anywhere. There's some really interesting characters here this year. So I think I've covered it all. Again, I thank you guys for being here, and let's do this. Let's have a big hand to get them started. And we're getting things started with famous figure number 1, Miss Dolly Parton.
Oh, hey there. I'm Dolly Parton. You may know me for my country music or my acting, but something you may not know about me is I'm Miley Cyrus's godmother. Yes, Miley Cyrus. As a kid, I had 11 siblings. Well, 12 including me. Do you want to come along to hear my story? As a kid, I already loved to sing. The funny thing is, I started writing songs before I could even write. I was born January 19th, 1946 in Locust Ridge, Tennessee. I was the 4th child, and I was born into a dirt poor family. To pay for my medical expenses, my parents had to use a sack of cornmeal in exchange for treatment. Whenever I was 10 years old, I had my first real-life performance. It was at a radio station. Then, whenever I was 13, I sang at the Grand Ole Opry. As I grew more love for my music. I married the love of my life, Carl Thomas Dean, on May 30th, 1966. I was about 20 years old. Then, in the 1980s, I started my acting career. I was in the movie 9 to 5, and that's one of my well-known movies. I wrote the song 9 to 5 for that movie as well. I was about 34. Also, whenever I was 34, I bought my first house. Sadly, I couldn't have kids to fill it with, but luckily, I have a lot of nieces and nephews, 14 to be exact. As I grew up, I never gave up. I've written over 3,000 songs in my lifetime. On November 23rd of 2023, I sang at the Dallas Cowboys halftime show. Sadly, on March 3rd, 2025, my husband of almost 60 years passed. Back to the good things. Some things I've done to impact the world is I have made the Imagination Library, and that is where children ages 0 through 5 get books sent to them. And I have also made the Buddy program. That is where 7th and 8th grade students in Sevier County, Tennessee get to choose a buddy, and if them and their buddy both graduate, then they get $500. Well, as you can see, my life was rough in the beginning, but it's got better as I've grown up. Remember, if you're gonna make a dream come true, you've got to work it. You can't just sit around. Yes?
Of all those wonderful songs you've written, which one is the most you?
I think either 9 to 5 or Jolene. I think they have very good beats, and I love upbeat music. It really helps me keep going. That was so scary.
And now it's famous figure number 2, Thomas D. Campbell.
Hey, John, don't forget to fix that threshing machine. Oh, and read my article in Time magazine. Good afternoon. My name is Thomas D. Campbell. I was born on February 19th, 1882, on my ma and pa's 160-acre homestead farm. My life's work was influenced by my family's struggle to make our farm profitable. My pa had a team of oxen and a threshing machine. I knew that those machines were really important, so I wanted to make them better. But at age 17, I was managing 4,000 acres of our farmland because my father fell ill. I loved growing wheat. Although my father was ill, I still attended school. I was valedictorian of my high school and then went to the University of North Dakota and received a degree in liberal arts and mechanical engineering. In 1904, I went to New York to attend Cornell University to get my master's, to return home due to my father's worsening health. But that's when I married my old schoolmate, Bess McBride Bull, in October of 1906. In 1907, we had our firstborn. We had 2 girls, my dear son, who passed at age 2. From there, we took in everything life had to offer, till 1917, when troops were boarding ships to go overseas for World War I. There was such a lack in men and boys farming that I proposed to President Wilson the idea of increasing wheat production before shortages due to war. We could cultivate a large-scale farm in Montana and Wyoming. So that got the interest of the Bureau of Indian Affairs farming director, who assisted my plan. The deal was I would supply the native peoples with 10% of the harvest. So I went with it, and my plan was sold to J.P. Morgan in 20 minutes, getting me $2 million. With that, I bought 60 plows, 50 seed drills, 34 tractors, and dozens of trucks and trailers. With the money I still had, I bought an additional 200,000 acres. So I was set. And in 1918, I plowed and planted my very first 7,000 acres of winter wheat. The following year, I had a total of 45,000 acres of winter wheat. Then, in 1923, my team of 100 plus men increased to 110,000 acres of winter wheat, getting me the title Wheat King of the World, as stated in 1928 when I was featured on the cover of Time magazine. Not all years were good, but one that was good was 1958 when I recorded a crop of 700,000 bushels. After my large land developments in the U.S., countries around the world wanted my help and knowledge to bring large tracts of land into development. One was 10 million acres. But sadly, a few years later, I died at age 84 on March 18th, 1966. Now, if you'd excuse me, I gotta go help John fix the threshing machine. Well, for starters, we had lots of drought in a few years. Some years it would get hailed out, and then some years we would just get in there a little bit too late. The ground wasn't moist enough, and our crop just wouldn't get started well enough.
Now it's time for famous figure number 3, Miss Jackie Stiles.
Swish! Score! Jackie Stiles, one of the greatest female basketball players of all time. Here are some exciting facts about me. I was born on December 21st, 1978 in Kansas City, Kansas, but I was raised in small town Claflin, Kansas. I'm 5'8", and I went to college at Missouri State University from 1997 to 2001. I had a lot of accomplishments in my life. You might know that I was a person who loved the game of basketball. One time in high school, I scored 71 points in one game. I averaged 46 points per game. I was named the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame for 3 years, as well as first team All-State from 1994 to 1997. In track and field, I was a 14-time individual state champion in the 400, 800, 1600, and 3200 meter. In college, I was the all-time leading scorer in Division I women's basketball for 16 years. I also played in the WNBA and was named the 2001 WNBA Rookie of the Year and All-Star. Those are some reasons why I'm a famous person. One inspiring story was from when my little sister died. I'm sure you all have lost a special family member. I wanted to dedicate all of my accomplishments to her. That helped drive me to become a professional basketball player. My parents, Pam Stiles and Pat Stiles, influenced me by their hard work and sacrifices, which taught me to work hard. That helped make me who I am today. I influenced and impacted the world by working hard and simply being me. I inspire people to follow their dreams. I scored 3,603 points in my high school career and 3,393 points in college. I showed strong work ethic when I was young by shooting 1,000 shots every day. Teaching people you have to work hard to reach your goals. If you want to be good, focus on making yourself better. If you want to be great, focus on not only making yourself better, but those around you better. In all, I'm still inspiring millions of people around the world. In concluding, I'm Jackie Stiles, one of the greatest female basketball players of all time. Something that you can learn from me is to keep working and to move on in life. You can always be good. You just have to see it in yourself. What's that, Coach? I'm in. Coming. Bye, guys.
How important was your family in what you did?
It was pretty important because my family just encouraged me to keep moving on in life.
Famous figure number 4, Babe Ruth.
Oh, I didn't see you there. I was just about to go back, but I've got a little time to tell you my story. Hi, I'm George Herman Ruth Jr., or Babe Ruth. I was born February 6, 1895, in Baltimore, Maryland. As a kid, I had a challenging childhood. Me and my sister Mammy were the only 2 kids out of 8 children that survived past infancy, and my parents, George Ruth Sr. and Kate Ruth, were often gone from our home. As a kid, I was very bad. I engaged in petty thievery, I chewed tobacco, and I had repeated run-ins with the law. In 1902, my parents had to send me to St. Mary's Industrial School for Boys because of all the bad stuff I was doing, which was run by Xavier and Brothers. I learned how to play baseball from one of the monks named Matthias, who noticed my talent and helped me develop some of my skills. On July 11, 1914, when I was only 19 years old, I started playing for the Boston Red Sox as a star left-handed pitcher. 6 years later, in 1920, the Boston Red Sox traded me to the New York Yankees when I was 25. After I was traded, I married Helen Woodford, and we adopted a daughter named Dorothy, but 4 years later we separated. On opening day in 1929, I married Claire Hodgson, and soon after I adopted her daughter, Dorothy. 15 years after I was traded to the Yankees, I was traded to the Boston Braves in 1935 for my final year of baseball before I retired. When I retired, I was 40 years old. Upon my retirement, the New York Yankees retired my number 3. After this, I started the Babe Ruth Foundation. This foundation gave money to poor and needy kids. A year later, I was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I was known for my power hitting and my impact on the game of baseball, which earned me the nickname the Sultan of SWAT and the Great Bambino. I held the home run record for most home runs in a season, which was 60, from 1927 to 1961, and the most home runs in a career, which was 714, from 1927 to 1971. After I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, I became a coach for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Even though I was known mainly for baseball, I would go to hospitals and orphanages and give out autographed balls. I died August 16, 1948 at the New York City Memorial Hospital. I died from nasopharyngeal cancer, a type of throat cancer. I was 53 years old. Some considered me to be the greatest baseball player ever. Like I've said before, you just can't beat the person that never gives up. Gotta go, I'm up to bat.
Of the teams that you played with and for, what was your favorite team?
My favorite was probably the New York Yankees.
Famous figure number 5, Cleopatra.
Oh, hello there. Let me introduce you about myself. Have you ever heard about ancient Egyptians? Because I'm a famous ancient Egyptian. My name is Cleopatra. I'm from the royalty family of Egypt. I have 3 siblings, Theos, Pichamini, and Asteroid. I also care lots about my parents. Lots of people might know me by me being a famous queen. When I was little, I had a great tutor. He was known by my country. His name was Philosopher. My parents had great money. They gave me good food and clothes. A very weird thing happened to me when I was born. After my birth, my mother disappeared for a few months. My dad kept looking for her, but we found her. Till this day, we don't know why and where she left. My father was a great ruler of Egypt, and my family helped me accomplish being like my mother, an amazing queen. I have created many medicines for my people, from my land. Imagine Egypt without nobody ruling it. I have created Egypt's economy, and I have married 2 of my brothers. I'm a Capricorn. A fact about me is that I'm not from Egypt. I'm from Mediterranean Greek. But I was born in Egypt January 69 BC. I'm highly intelligent. In Egypt, we would believe that when we would die, we would wake up again. That's why we had our statues and treasures next to us when we lay down dead. And that's why people have found our statues and treasures. We also believed that statues like the Sphinx would protect us from gold thieves and treasure hunters. We wrote on the paper called papyrus and talked with the language hieroglyphics. A fact about Egypt is that Egyptians now don't talk hieroglyphics anymore. They talk Arabic. Oh look, a cobra. It bit me, causing me to die. Well, I need to go now because my Egyptians need me. Goodbye, everyone.
Can you tell me just a little bit about what it was like ruling Egypt and how you felt about that? What were some of the challenges?
There wasn't really much challenges in my life. It was really like a fun life, and I liked being like one of the royalty families. It felt amazing in Egypt.
Famous figure number 6, Miss Bethany Hamilton.
Beep, beep, beep with the sound of the heart monitor as I woke up. Where am I? Mom, what happened? Hi, I'm Bethany Hamilton. I was born on February 8th, 1990 in Ohio. My parents, Sherry and Tom, loved surfing even before they met. While they got married and had myself and my 2 brothers, Noah and Timothy. At the age of 7, I started surfing. My parents homeschooled me since surf competitions were all around the world. Growing up, my family was not rich. Somehow, Rip Curl, which is a surfing brand, saw me at an event and were impressed and wanted to sponsor me. I was over the moon. So at the age of 9, they signed me. Joining the Alani Girls surf team helped me a lot, especially trying to afford some of the stuff I needed. Little did I know, while pursuing my dream, I was going to face a big obstacle that would change my entire life only at the age of 13 at Tunnels Beach in Kauai, Hawaii on October 31st, 2003. I was with my friend Elena Boy and tried to go surfing together. We were waiting for a wave, till out of nowhere I feel a tug on my left arm and a gray shadow. Then I see blood, my blood, everywhere. I called out to Elena, her dad, and my 2 brothers and told them I just got bitten by a shark. I paddled to one shore, but with one arm to the shore, where they used a rash guard to make a tourniquet around my arm to stop the bleeding. They put me in the back of their truck and took off to meet up with the ambulance. They took me to Wilcox Memorial Hospital, where they had to move a guy out of a surgery room to bring me in. It was my dad, who was getting a knee surgery the same day. I was so grateful I didn't die. By the grace of God, I was able to surf only 26 days after my attack. Since my family was so religious, we trusted God and believed that whatever he does is the right decision. In those moments, I believed, I don't need easy, I just need possible. Hey, do you want to know something gnarly? A few days after my attack, a fisherman caught a 14-foot tiger shark. We compared the jaws of the shark to my surfboard, and it matched perfectly. Okay, back to my story. You guys are probably wondering if I got a prosthetic arm. Most people would get a prosthetic arm, but I didn't. Since my life involves surfing almost every day, it wouldn't be too helpful. In 2004, I wrote my first book, Soul Surfer. It was written to tell on how I used faith and overcome fears and frustrations while learning how to surf again with only one arm. In 2005, I won the NSSA Women's 18 and Under Explore Division. I continued surfing the World Surf League. Then 8 years after my attack, the movie Soul Surfer was released. It was based off of my earlier book, Soul Surfer. I was not in the movie, but I provided most of the surf double work for my character. As an adult, I married Adam Dirks. Adam was a youth minister. Together we had 4 kids. In 2014, I was voted as the favorite comeback athlete at Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards. I was also inducted into the Surfer Hall of Fame. And in 2019, the movie Unstoppable was released. Unstoppable continued to tell my story on how I succeeded and am being remembered as a brave, faithful, determined athlete, author, surfer, mother, wife, and motivational speaker that I am today. Just remember, love God, love others, do the best in what you do, even if you fall short. Thanks for hanging out with me. Gotta go catch another wave. Mahalo.
What do you hope that young people will learn from your experiences?
I think they'll learn to never give up and always follow your dreams. Since I did get attacked by a shark, I always thought that I wouldn't be able to surf again, but I got right up on that surfboard and started surfing.
Famous figure number 7, Temple Grandin.
We're gonna get it yet.
Again, that's Temple Grandin.
Juggle. Sorry about that. My name is Temple Grandin. I was born on August 29th, 1947 in Boston, Massachusetts to Eustacia Cutler and Richard Grandin. As a child, I was very sensitive to touch and sound, kept to myself a lot. It wasn't until I was 3.5 years old I even started talking. I was always throwing what my mom called her temper tantrums. And my mom became concerned about my behavior and decided to take me to a doctor, where I was diagnosed with autism. Those temper tantrums were actually my way of telling my parents my feelings because I was nonverbal. I grew up going to private schools that are very supportive. My aunt lived on a ranch and let me visit often. I loved all the animals and enjoyed spending time with them. It was like we had a special connection that I never had with anyone or anything else. One summer when I went to my aunt's house, we all talked about college for me. I did not want to go, but my mom encouraged me and pushed me to go. I'm glad she did because I was very smart. I got 3 degrees in college, a bachelor's degree in human psychology, a master's degree in animal science, and a doctoral degree in animal science. College was challenging though because I had severe panic attacks and suffered from colitis. Trying to find ways of coping with my panic attacks got me thinking of the cows on my aunt's ranch. I remember seeing them always spooked and acting crazy and being put in this thing called a squeeze machine and instantly being calmed down in. I thought maybe that would work for me, so why not make a human hug machine? Even though I did not like human touch like the cows, I felt calmed by the hugging feeling of being squeezed tightly. It worked. In between getting my bachelor's degree and my master's, I was a livestock editor and equipment designer. Doing this was a total eye-opener to the cruel world our livestock had to live. This led me to my next invention, the center track restraining system in a high walled curved cow chute. This system was used in slaughterhouses to move the cows along a more humane, less stressful way. My coworkers thought it was an insane design until they saw how many cows it saved from dying inhumanely. If I could snap my finger and remain autistic, I would not, because autism is a part of who I am.
How has your autism helped you with, in terms of you loving animals like that? Do you think that was your superpower?
Well, it helped me by, doing all that I do right now. It made me see stuff different from other people, and that's how I got my ideas and stuff. I saw, the suffering from cows dying from the center track restrainer system, the thing before I made it, and yeah.
Famous figure number 8, Dr. Muhammad Yunus.
Poverty is not created by poor people. It is created by society, by the system we have. Good morning, everyone. I'm Muhammad Yunus, and today
I'm honored to share my journey with you. I come from a small village in Bangladesh. From an early age, I realized that poverty isn't just about lacking money. It's about lacking opportunities. In 1961, I earned a degree in economics from Dhaka University. In 1965, I received a full-ride scholarship to study in the United States, where I completed my PhD in economics at Vanderbilt University in 1971. I returned to Bangladesh in 1976, and I truly began to understand the profound connection between poverty and the prevailing system. One day, while walking through a village near my university, I met a woman named Sufia. She was making bamboo stools, but she didn't have the money to buy enough raw materials to keep her business going. I was shocked when she told me that the local bank wouldn't lend her any money because she was considered too poor. That moment changed my life. I decided to lend her $27 from my own pocket, which was approximately 3,000 Bangladesh taka. With that small amount, she was able to buy more materials, grow her business, and start earning. This was when I first realized the power of microcredit, small loans given to people, especially women, to help them start a business and improve their lives. In 1983, I founded Grameen Bank to provide microloans to the poor with no collateral required. At the time, many people thought the idea was impossible. How could you lend money to people who had nothing? But I believed that if you gave people the opportunity, they could build something meaningful, and that's exactly what happened. Today, Grameen Bank has helped millions of people, not just in Bangladesh, but around the world. Most importantly, it has empowered women, because I firmly believe that if you empower a woman, you empower an entire community. In 2006, I was honored to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for my work in microfinance. But the true reward for me has been seeing the changes in people's lives. My work is not just about providing financial support. It's about changing mindsets. I've written several books to share these ideas with the world. Bank to the Poor, Creating a World Without Poverty, Building Social Businesses, and A World of Three Zeros. Each of these books explores how social businesses can play a key role in addressing poverty, unemployment, and social challenges. In the end, I would like to remind all of you sitting here that each one of us has the power to change the world through compassion, creativity, and innovation. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you very much.
What important thing that you decided to do?
Thank you for asking a great question. The most important thing that I have done is taught young people that they have the power to change the world through compassion, creativity, and innovation. Not just to make money, but to make a difference. Thank you very much.
And now it's time for famous figure number 9, Miss Annie Oakley.
Hey, you better watch out. If you keep standing there, you're liable to get hit by a stray bullet. Well, I just finished with my act, so I have time to tell you about my life. On August 13th, 1860, a legacy was born. It was me, Phoebe Ann Mosey. Some know me as Annie Oakley or Little Sure Shot. My parents are Susan and Jacob Mosey. I had 6 brothers and 6 sisters. They're the ones that gave me my nickname, Annie. We were very poor. I was sent to an orphanage after my father died from pneumonia. It was very tragic for my mother. My mother remarried 6 more times after my father's death. Before my father's death, he taught me a little about guns. I did not have a formal education. I self-taught at the orphanage. I did not go to school either. After several years at the orphanage, or poorhouse, as some called it, I was sent to an evil place where they treated me like a slave. Luckily, I escaped and went back home to my mother and my siblings. Sometimes I would practice shooting with my mother. I would hunt deer and other small animals and sell them to local hotels and restaurants to make money for our family. I became a really good shot during this time. When I was 15, I entered a shooting contest in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I went up against famous sharpshooter Frank Butler. We both shot over 20 times. He finally missed, and I won. I knew this was the start of something big. After I met my soon-to-be husband, Frank Butler, at that shooting contest, after 2 years of dating, he proposed, and I said yes. We were married. In 1885, I joined Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. I was in the show for 16 years. I would perform my signature act, or I would walk out with a handheld mirror and my gun on my shoulder. I would shoot a cigarette out of my husband's mouth. Some of my other tricks were shooting the cork out of a bottle, shooting the wick off of a burning candle, and even splitting a car in half. Most of the time, I would do these tricks while on the back of a galloping horse. In 1901, I was injured in a train accident and retired from the Wild West show, where me and my husband lived for the remainder of lives in Ohio. I continued to write and act in my retirement. I passed away at the age of 66 in 1926. A legend had just died. I impacted many young American shooters' lives by showing them that they could do hard things. In a male-dominated field, I showed them that anything was possible. Oh, what was that, Frank? It's about time for my act. Well, thanks for listening to my life story. I would probably change nothing because I had a great life and I really enjoyed it.
Now it's famous figure number 10, Madame Marie Curie.
Radium. I've finally discovered it. Radium. In case you haven't realized yet, I'm Marie Curie, an important scientist. Now that you know my name, I can tell you all about my life. I was born on November 7th, 1867, in Warsaw, Poland. Growing up in Poland was tough because I was forced to follow Russian laws during their rule over Poland. I have had many big accomplishments in my life that first sparked when I was young by all of my father's science equipment. You may know me for being a really impactful scientist. I was also the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes. I was also the first female professor at my university. Those are some of the big accomplishments that led to my fame. Now, I have a story for you. Has there ever been a time where a man was allowed to do something, but you weren't? When I was young,
women were not allowed to go to university. So I took secret universities at night until I found a university in Paris, France, where I was allowed to go. It was called Sorbonne, but my family could not afford to send me and my sister. So I took a job as a governess to pay for my sister to go, where she became a doctor and helped pay for me to go too, where I found love and married Pierre Curie in July of 1895. That was an important time that made me feel pride and really commit to advance in science. I am an impactful person in the world. I am valuable because I have won 2 Nobel Prizes for my important discoveries. I was also the first female professor at my university. These accomplishments led to me impacting the world, to not give up and to just keep going. These also paved the way for large advancements in solving the cure to cancer. Something valuable I have once said is nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. But even though all these accomplishments were helpful, they also came with a consequence. That being my sad death on July 4th, 1934, at the age of only 66, from too much radium exposure. That is how I impacted the world to not give up and to overcome any challenge and obstacles. In brief, I'm Marie Curie, an important scientist. And I impacted the world to not fear what happens in your life and to just keep going. Now, I must get back to work. I'm reaching a breakthrough.
Is there anything about your life that you would change?
I think I did enough in my lifetime that I would not change anything that I had accomplished or done.
Famous figure number 11, Desmond Doss.
It is. Oh, hi there. I was just working on my training as a medic. My name is Desmond Doss. On February 7th, 1919, I was born in Lynchburg, Virginia. My parents were William Thomas Doss and Bertha Edward Oliver Doss. In 1925, while I was playing with my brother, I accidentally hit him with a brick. From there, I promised to be peaceful for the rest of my life. In 1941, I got a new job at the Newport News Naval Shipyard. Then, in 1942, I met Dorothy Shute. The same year, we got married on August 17th. Then, something big happened. On 1945, I got drafted into the United States military. From there, I was sent to Fort Jackson for basic training. But because of my personal beliefs against killing, I refused to carry a weapon. Because of this, and because I was Christian, one night I got beat up by the other drafted Americans. In early May 1945, me and the 77th Division were sent to fight in the Pacific Theater. We were sent to Okinawa, an island owned by Japan off the southern coast of Japan, to Hacksaw Ridge, a ridge over 500 feet tall with Japanese defenses on the ridge. So me and the 77th Division decided to try and take the ridge. But because I didn't want to carry a weapon, I was a medic. When the battle first began, it was chaos for me and the Americans, suffering major casualties. So the rest of my division retreated. but I, seeing a lot of wounded soldiers, decided to help them. I rescued wounded soldiers one at a time with a special rope knot mechanism I used, where I lowered them down to where they could get medical assistance. Though I was American, I tried to rescue both American and Japanese soldiers who were injured. I did this for about 12 hours, and I never got wounded in the process. Eventually, after finding the last wounded person I could find, I went back down to the American camp. After all those soldiers figured out it was me rescuing all those wounded people, they respected me and felt bad for beating me back in South Carolina. I forgave them, and we tried to attack the ridge again. But before we could, I asked if I could pray some prayers to God. They accepted this, and I prayed, and they waited. After I was finished, we attacked the ridge again, and slowly by slowly, we began taking the ridge. But one night, during a nighttime raid by us, the Americans, I was majorly injured. I was evacuated back to my home in Lynchburg, Virginia, where I still recovered from my wounds. In 1946, I had a child, Desmond Thomas Doss Jr. In the 1950s, me and my family moved to northern Georgia, where we continued to live there until 1991, where my wife died following a car accident. In 1993, I married Frances Doss. Then, I passed away in 2006 due to respiratory ailment, which is shortness of breath. I was buried in Chattanooga National Cemetery in 2006. Now, I need to get back to my medic training.
Is there anything about your life that you would change?
Probably not hitting my brother with the brick.
And now it's famous figure number 12, Laura Ingalls Wilder.
As a young girl, I wanted to be a teacher and mother just like my mom. I never thought of being a writer, and though that thought never came to me, I became known as one of the greatest writers. My autobiographies became so famous, they were given many awards and were even translated into many different languages. But I wouldn't be as well known if it wasn't for my family. Family is part of why I'm remembered. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Laura Ingalls Wilder. Pleased to meet you. My story begins in the big woods near the small town of Pepin, Wisconsin. I was born on February 7th, 1867, to Charles and Caroline Ingalls. You may know them as Mom, Pa. Back then, I only had one big sister, Mary. After me came Carrie, and then Charles Frederick, and finally Grace. Unfortunately, Charles Frederick passed away at only 9 months. As I grew up, my family and I moved a lot. Each time we moved, Pa would have to build us a new house. Along with building the house, Pa would hunt and trap for our food. With the furs and feathers from the animals Pa hunted, Ma would make pillows and clothing. Though life was tough, there was always fun. In the summers, after our chores, Mary and I loved to play outside. Sometimes we were lucky enough to live near a lake or stream, so we would play in the water. Pa would sometimes warn us to stay away from certain things, Mary was the obedient one. Well, you probably guessed, I was the naughty one and usually did the opposite of what I was told. Pa usually found out about what I did. In the winters, Mary and I loved to play in the snow. If it was too cold to play in the snow, or as Ma said it was, we'd sew or play with dolls. When I was 12, we made our last move to the Dakota Territories. By the age of 16, I started to teach school. Teaching was interesting, but I wasn't quite fond of it, and I got homesick. I wished Pa would come and take me home. That wish came true, but not in the way I expected. A young man named Almanza Wilder came and took me home. Every weekend he came. After a while, we fell in love and were married on August 25th, 1885. Later, I gave birth to a baby girl whom we named Rose. As Rose became an adult, she nagged me to write my story. So finally, when I was in my 60s, I began to write. Sadly, though, soon after finishing my last book, I laid my head down in eternal rest. The date was February 10th, 1957, just 3 days after my 90th birthday. I had suffered from many years of cardiac issues and undiagnosed diabetes. Since I only had a daughter, the family name never lived on, but it will always live on in my books.
Of all the places that you lived as you moved around, what was your favorite and why?
I really enjoyed anywhere kind of close to water, so any streams or lakes or creeks we moved by, like Plum Creek or Silver Lake, were some of my favorite places.
Famous figure 13, Miss Lucille Ball.
Action! Do you poop out at parties? Are you unpopular? Well, the answer to all your problems is in this little bottle. Vitamin contains vitamins, meat, vegetables, and minerals. With Vitamin you can spoon your way to health. Cut! Oh, I didn't know I was filming in front of a live audience. Well, anyways, I'm Lucille Desiree Ball, actor, model, and star. Now, since you look like you're here to stay, and since I'm on break, I guess I'll take you along in my lifetime full of drama. I was born on August 6th, 1911 in Jamestown, New York. I have a little brother named Fred Henry Ball, and my parents' names are Desiree Hunt and Henry Ball. When I was about 3 years old, my father passed away. And when I was 7 years old, my mother got remarried to Edward Peterson. From a young age, I was in many school plays. I enrolled in many acting classes and even went to a junior acting school. I'm proud to say that I have been a working actress and model since the age of 12. When I was 15, I left high school to attend a drama school in New York. I met Desi Arnaz on a movie set in 1940, and we instantly clicked. I married Desi on November 30th, 1940, and I had 2 miscarriages and 2 children with him. When I was married to Desi, I was in a show called I Love Lucy, which I became known for. It aired in 1951 through 1957. The show was all about a housewife, me getting into lots of trouble and funny situations. I was never afraid to make myself look silly or get dirty. I was well known for my facial expressions, loud laugh, and off-key singing. And of course, the infamous, anything for a laugh. And like I always said, I'd rather regret the things I've done than regret the things I haven't done. In 1952, I won Best Comedian and was voted greatest TV star of all time by TV Guide. I even have my own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I divorced Desi in 1960 due to his heavy drinking. I found another love named Gary Morton, and we were married in 1961. We didn't have any kids, but it was a happy marriage, and it lasted until my death. In 1986, I won the Lifetime Achievement Citation from the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. I was also honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1989. Like everyone does, I passed away on April 26, 1989. I died because my aorta ruptured and caused an irreparable cardiac arrest. I lived a good but shortened 77-year-long life. Now listen, before they call me back up onto set, just promise me that you'll remember my secret to staying young. Live honestly, eat slowly, and lie about your age. Action! It's so tasty, too. Just like candy. Cut.
Growing up, who did you admire?
Probably my younger brother. He was way more mature than I was.
It's time for famous figure 14, Mr. George Washington Carver.
Hello there. I was just looking at this plant for research. I should probably introduce myself properly. I'm George Washington Carver, and I'm an agricultural scientist and inventor. I was born on July 12, 1864 in Diamond, Missouri, into slavery. My mom and I were kidnapped when I was just a few weeks old. I was found, but my mom sadly wasn't. My brother James and I stayed with the Carvers, our owners, after slavery was abolished because we didn't have anywhere else to go. There I had my own little garden, where I was always experimenting with plants and rocks. I had a hunger for knowledge, so when I was just 12, I left the Carver's house to attend school in Neosho, Missouri. After traveling around various Kansas schools, I graduated from Minneapolis High School. I got accepted into Highland University, but once they saw I wasn't white, they didn't allow me to attend. Eventually, I was accepted into Simpson College. I was the first African American there. I studied art and even contemplated becoming an artist, but I realized I would not be helping my communities. So instead, I transferred to Iowa State Agricultural College in 1891. I got my master's degree in science. In 1896, Booker T. Washington invited me to the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, an institute for African Americans. He made me head of the institute because of my expertise and my advanced training in scientific agriculture. I quickly realized the soil in Alabama was not good. We were planting cotton year after year, which depleted the soil of its nutrients. I suggested rotating plantings of cotton and peanuts, because peanuts put nutrients into the soil. This is called a crop rotation, which I pioneered. The farmers of Alabama didn't think they'd be able to sell the peanuts they would produce. This inspired me to find more uses of peanuts. I experimented and separated the compounds of the legume and found over 300 uses, including food products, cosmetics, and even industrial products. I worked at the Institute the rest of my life, even though I had many big job offers, like working with Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and even Franklin D. Roosevelt for large sums of money. But I declined them all because I wanted to work for the good of the people. Oftentimes, I never even cashed my checks from the Institute because I believed my knowledge was gifted to me by God. I received many honors and achievements in my lifetime, including the Spingarn Medal for Outstanding Achievement, the Theodore Roosevelt Medal for Distinguished Research, receiving an honorary doctorate from Simpson College, an honorary membership from the American Inventor Society, and even being a fellow at the English Royal Society for my encouragement of the arts. I died on January 5th, 1943 from complications from a fall at the Institute. Shortly after my death, the George Washington Carver National Monument was established at my birthplace. January 5th was designated as George Washington Carver Recognition Day. Well, see ya. Got a sick plant to attend to.
Dr. Carver, looking back on your wonderful life, is there one thing that shines above everything else that you did?
I would say the most memorable thing that I ever did was probably to help a ton of farmers across the world to be able to farm better, to make crops better, and to just have a better outcome of their crops.
We're about ready for the final contestant of our first half. Got a little bit later start and downstairs with the kiddos, but we're going to start the second half by 10:10. And so if anybody wants to stretch their legs or something, be back by then to see it. And we want to give the judges a little time to stretch their legs, or if they need to take a little walk backstage or something. But we'll be starting the second half by 10 after 10. But we can't do that till we wrap up this half, and that is with famous figure number 15, Miss Amelia Earhart.
Flying an airplane is too easy. Oh, hello there. Have you ever flown an airplane? I'm Amelia Earhart, and if it's okay with you, we can have an interview. I was a flyer, as you might know. I was a famous flyer, actually. I might have been mentioned about once or twice. I'll tell you who I really was. I was born July 24th, 1897 in Atchison, Kansas. So I flew planes and always loved planes. I named my first plane the Carney. I was a smart gal. When I was 7, I built a homemade roller coaster with my uncle and cousin. I taught people to never give up. I also never gave up myself. Every time I fell, I always got back up stronger than before. I almost flew across the whole world. This made me feel happy. I was unique because I did things others couldn't do or wouldn't do. My biggest accomplishment was learning to fly and be me. Now, I'll tell a challenging but amazing story about myself. I faced many challenges, but my greatest challenge was getting my flying license. I bet you'd be scared about getting your flying license too. I thought I wasn't good enough for flying, but my flying instructor inspired me to keep working. She was amazing. Her name was Netta. Netta lifted me off my feet and kept me going. I felt proud of my improvement in flying. Others can learn from me to never give up. That's how I became who I was. I was an inspiration to lots. I taught people to never give up and follow their dreams. You might think I was important because I did things women thought they couldn't do. I almost flew across the whole world solo. I was the 16th woman to get a flying license. I even had pneumonia and still flew planes. I also learned to never give up. Never do things others can do or will do if there are things others cannot do or won't do, I'd say. This saying of mine means to never do things others can do. Overall, I'm still inspiring people after almost 80 years. On my last flight, I ran out of fuel and crashed somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, along with Fred Newman, my navigator. Therefore, I'm the most amazing flyer, Amelia Earhart. You can learn from me to never give up and follow your dreams. There's always things to accomplish. Will you follow your dreams? Well, I have to go now. I have a plane waiting for me. Bye.
Growing up, who did you admire?
When I was growing up, I admired my father because he was my biggest supporter.
All right, we are going to take a 10-minute break, just 10 minutes, but stay away from the judging area up at the front. But a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back. The kiddos that have been watching up there, the famous figures in the second half, come on down, make your way down, all the famous figure kiddos that are performing in the second half. Make sure you guys come down. Second half famous figures on into the dressing room. First half will be going downstairs. We're going to get a couple of pictures. We're going to be back in 10 minutes to do another 15 amazing kids. Okay, downstairs, everybody, to the dressing rooms. I'm going to get some photos. You guys did a great job. I'm very proud of all of you. Very proud. right, if everyone would take their seats. Everyone take your seats. Everything good down here? You guys doing okay on everything? All right. Oh, you guys are good. You guys are good. All right. They're going to get the lights, and we're going to start a second half. And there's some fabulous things for you guys to see. Be right back. We kick it off with famous figure 16, Miss Betty White.
People have told me, Betty, Facebook is a great way to keep in touch with old friends. In my day, if I wanted to keep in touch with my old friends, I need a Ouija board. Hello, my name is Betty White, and I'm here to give you a glimpse into my life. I was the only child born to Tess and Horace White on January 17th, 1922, in Oak Park, Illinois. When I was just 2, my parents and I moved to Los Angeles, California. When I was younger, I liked to read, write fan fictions of The Wizard of Oz, and ride horses. I suppose we can take a quick peek into my personal life before getting on to the most well-known aspects of it. I was married 3 times, but the only one that really counts is the last one. I met the love of my life, Alan Ludden, in 1963 and married him in 1964. In 1981, he sadly passed on from stomach cancer. I was once asked why I never remarried. Once you have the best, who needs the rest? Now on to my career. Shortly after finishing high school, I got my first role singing songs on an experimental television show called The Merry Widow. Not long after my role in The Merry Widow, the U.S. joined World War II, and I felt like I needed to do my part. I joined the American Women's Voluntary Services, driving a truck with military supplies, along with participating in events for troops. When the war was over, I was back at it looking for work, but was considered unphotogenic, so I was only able to land radio jobs. I know it sounds corny, but I try to see the funny and upside of everything. I got bored with people who complain about this or that. Such a waste of time. So radio it was. Oh well. I got to sing on the radio and loved every minute of it. Eventually, I began landing TV roles and even had my own show, The Betty White Show. I found myself at the center of big old controversy because I included Arthur Duncan as a regular. To the many stations who threatened to boycott my show, I simply say, I'm sorry, live with it. In the years that followed, I was on numerous sitcoms, game shows, and talk shows. If it was a big show, I probably appeared on it one time or another. Then came the big one, Golden Girls. Golden Girls won 68 Emmy Awards. Of course, I'm not one to blow my own Vertubenflugen. I was on different movies and shows after Golden Girls, but it wasn't until 2009, with my role in the movie The Proposal, my career received a big boost. Oh, and Ryan Reynolds, my co-star, he's gerfloofing. I continued acting or lending my voice to characters up until 2019. I was the voice of Bitey White on Toy Story 4. I was a sucker for animals, so the tiger was perfect. Throughout my life, I received many awards, including Primetime and Daytime Emmys, a Grammy, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Lifetime Achievement Award, and even my own postage stamp after my death. While those are all wonderful, I consider my work as an animal rights activist to be some of my greatest accomplishments. Old age isn't so bad being still the alternative, but my time was up after 99 years on December 31st, 2021. Remember, don't get so anti about everything. Mind your business, take care of your affairs, and don't worry about other people so much.
So what would you say is the secret of a long life and long career?
I'll say just to stay healthy and always, always keep trying your best to land everything that you believe is right.
Famous figure number 17, Charles Darwin.
Oh, hello there. What are you doing here on this ship? My name is Charles Robert Darwin, and I'm a naturalist, geologist, and biologist, famous for my discovery of natural selection. And you say you've come to talk about me? Well, all right then. I was a very important figure in scientific biology. You may know me as the father of evolution, or from that one tortoise exhibit from the zoo, the Darwin tortoise. You may think I was proud when I published those works in evolution, but I was actually nervous because it went against the church's beliefs. I won in the end and continued to dabble in significant study of biology. But of course, not everyone agreed with my ideas of natural selection. Lots of you have probably experienced a time in your life when you know you're right, but someone doesn't believe you. This happened with me in the church. At the time, disagreement with the church could be punishable by death. I was afraid, but me and my fellow scientists defended my theory, and we overcame the church. It was amazing. If you believe in something, fight for it. My fight for natural selection forever helped the science world. Without me and my theories, all of biology would be upside down. Without me and my fight for natural selection, there might not even be a biology. But because I discovered and studied many species, made a theory of natural selection, and fought for it, there is. Again, if you believe in something, fight for it. Even my own father once disapproved of my own ideas. Because of me, people know about natural selection. I'm not apt to follow blindly the lead of other men. Everyone should stand up for themselves at some point. I, Charles Darwin, stood up for myself by fighting for my theory of natural selection. You should always do what you think is best. How can you all help the world someday? I need to get back to my studies. Let's talk again sometime.
Mr. Darwin, growing up, who did you admire the most?
Could you repeat that? Could you repeat that?
Growing up, who did you admire the most?
My grandfather, for always being supportive of my ideas.
Famous figure number 18, Sunisha Suni Lee.
Hi, I'm Sunisha Lee, but you can call me Suni. While I'm waiting for my coaches, I'd like to tell you my story. It begins on March 9, 2003 in St. Paul, Minnesota, where I was born to my mother, Yang Thosh. She and my stepfather, John Lee, are members of the Hmong ethnic group, which is originally from China. I have 5 siblings. I started showing interest in gymnastics at 6 years old after watching the gymnast Nastia Lukin on YouTube. My dad then built a balance beam for me in my backyard so I could practice. Soon, I started training at Midwest Gymnastics Center in Little Canada, Minnesota. I would spend 8 to 12 hours a day practicing while catching up on schoolwork. In 2017, I went to a USA Gymnastics camp and I was named to the junior national team. In 2019, tragedy struck my family. My father fell from a ladder while trimming tree branches. His spinal cord was injured, leaving him paralyzed in a wheelchair. I pledged to fully develop my gymnastics skills and make him proud. I got into the Tokyo Olympics in 2021 after finishing second in the Olympic trials. I was so excited to win a gold medal in the women's all-around. I was the first Hmong American Olympian and the first Asian American woman to win this medal. I also earned a team silver medal and a bronze medal for women's uneven bars. I made many friends in the Olympics, including Simone Biles. We have grown very close over the years, mainly due to our shared understanding of the trials and triumphs of being a high-level gymnast. After the Tokyo Olympics, I was named Female Athlete of the Year by Sports Illustrated, and I was included in Time 100, a list of the most influential people in the world. My article was written by none other than Nastia Lukin. In 2022, I competed with the Auburn University Tigers gymnastics team, winning silver and gold medals in the NCAA National Championships. In my sophomore year, I started to experience painful muscle cramps. I lost my appetite, and I had trouble sleeping. I was diagnosed with 2 rare incurable kidney diseases. The condition forced me to drop out of NCAA gymnastics, but I refused to drop out of the Olympics. I didn't want to let down my family, my teammates, or my country. In 2024, I went back to the Olympics in Paris, France, winning a gold medal in the team all-around and 2 bronze medals in the individual all-around and the uneven bars event. I'd love to demonstrate a new gymnastics skill, the Lee, named in my honor, but I see my teammates coming. I hope you all would cheer me on as I work to earn a spot in the next Olympics. Bye.
So what were some of the challenges that you had to go through to be an Olympic champion?
Some of the challenges I had to go through, partly was when my dad got paralyzed, I had some difficulties because it was really sad. And then in 2022, when I was diagnosed with my kidney diseases, I had some trouble and I couldn't go into the gym for a few years.
It's time for famous figure 19, Queen Elizabeth I.
Hola, bonjour, yak, chan. Hello, I'm Queen Elizabeth I, better known as Queen Elizabeth the Great. As an infant, I was loved by my mother, Annie Boleyn, but unnoticeable by my father, King Henry VIII. He wanted his son to be the next heir to the throne. Growing up, I had 2 siblings, Mary, my older sister, and Edward, my younger brother. But sadly, when I was 2.5 years old, my mother's life was cut short for high treason. Off with her head. After my mother's death, I was sent to a palace in Hatfield, but Mary made my time there awful. She blamed my mother for her mother's divorce to the king, then passed it on to me. While at the palace, I learned 6 different languages, and by the age of 5, I could read and write fluently. But when I was 4, my brother Edward was born, son of Queen James Seminar. But she'd only lived for 9 more years until she would sadly die. My father was devastated for about a month, and then he moved on to his 4th wife. But they'd only be married for 3 years until he would die. Now it was Edward's turn, but Edward would only be king for 6 years until he would die of pneumonia. It was Mary's turn now. While Mary was queen, she got some horrible names, such as Bloody Mary, but she'd only be queen for 2 years until she would die. Now, it was my turn. At the age of 25, I became queen. While as queen, I stopped the Spanish Armada. That was one of my best achievements. I made sure to keep peace with other countries to make sure England was safe, respected, and well-liked. I ruled England with my council while still keeping up with all England's wants and needs. But sadly, on March 1603, I took my last breath. My trusted accountant found me lying face down on the carpet. Soon my body would be carried through the streets of England. Sadness and crying all around, people coming from everywhere just to say goodbye. Although I've never had kids and I've never been married, I have several names, such as Glorina, Good Queen Bess, and Virgin Queen. When I died, I did not want an autopsy, so people will never know how I died. Some say pneumonia, and some say blood poisoning. Guess we'll never know. Now on my grave, it reads, Queen Elizabeth Tudor, beloved daughter and sister, September 7th, 1533, through March 24th, 1603. It was my pleasure to have you listen to my life story. I honestly thought when I stopped the Spanish Armada that it saved a lot of people's lives, and that made me really proud because I really cared about my people, so that just made me real proud.
Famous figure number 20, Mr. Wilt Chamberlain.
Chamberlain. Hello, my name is Wilton Newton Chamberlain, but most people know me as Wilt Chamberlain. I was born on August 21st, 1936 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was born to William and Olivia Chamberlain, and I was one of 9 kids. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in the heart of Philly. Growing up, I was tall, really tall. By the age of 13, I was 6 feet and 11 inches, and I wasn't done growing. I always felt I was awkward around kids my age because I felt I was different from them. I was very athletic and played a variety of sports. I was also fast. I ran the 880-yard dash in 1 minute and 58 seconds. It wasn't until high school that I found my true passion playing basketball. I can finally use my height to my advantage. I helped lead my team to a 56-3 record. After graduating high school, I went on to play for the University of Kansas. I was coached under Coach Dr. Forrest Valgallen. After I left KU my junior year, I went on to play for the Harlem Globetrotters for a year. What a fun experience that was. Then I moved on to the NBA. Over my course of my professional career, I played for the Warriors, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. My teammates came up with some nicknames for me: the Big Dipper, Goliath, and Hold the Stool. That one I did not like. One of my goals when I stepped foot on the court, whether it's for practice or a game, was to push myself to do better and be better. On March 2nd, 1962, I set a world record when I scored 100 points in a game with the Warriors. That record still stands today. During my 14-year career, I averaged 37.4 points per game, with a career total of 31,419 points. I won 2 championship rings, and I was named MVP 4 times. At the age of 36 in 1972, I retired. At the age of 63, I died unexpectedly of congestive heart failure in my home in Los Angeles, California. In June of 2004, an 18-foot bronze statue of me was placed at Wells Fargo Center to commemorate my basketball legacy. I believe that good things come to those who work. Do you have any questions?
What was your favorite team to play for during?
My favorite team to play for was the Warriors, just because I had a fun time, and that was the team that I scored 100 points with.
Famous figure 21, Miss Sally Ride.
Oh, hello there. Sorry, didn't see you there. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Sally Ride. I was the first American woman to go to space. I was born May 26, 1951, in Encino, California. I grew up in a typical American household, just like you did. My mom's name was Carol Anderson, and my dad is Dale Wright. I had one sister named Karen, and our parents encouraged us to pursue our own interests. When I was 10, I wanted to become a professional tennis player. I continued my tennis journey all the way through high school, when I was awarded a scholarship to attend a private high school, Westlake School for Girls. During that time, I was ranked top 20 nationally on the junior tennis circuit. Following high school, I attended Swarthmore College. But during my sophomore year, I left to pursue a career in tennis. But what do you know? I went back to school after 3 whole months, and I realized that school was a better option for me, and I attended Stanford University. One of my mentors and professors who taught human physiology class inspired my interest to be an astrophysicist. In 1973, I graduated from Stanford. I was one of the few women to study physics. I graduated with a degree in physics and English. I earned 2 more degrees, master and doctorate in physics. One day while reading a newspaper, I saw that NASA was hiring astronauts. 8,000 people applied for the job, but 35 astronauts were hired. 30 were men, 5 were women, and I got the job. I was youngest on board at 32. I went out to space 2 times, and I made a really cool robotic arm. My career ended when I was 61, after battling pancreatic cancer. But after my death, President Barack Obama awarded me the Civilian Medal of Freedom for the first American woman to go to space. I, still today, inspire more women and girls with my endeavors called Imaginary Lines, which inspires girls' interests in math, science, and technology, also known as STEM. Oh, fun fact. I also wrote 7 children's books with space exploration theme. Well, look at the time. I've got to go now. Don't want to be late for next NASA space trip.
You said that you wrote 7 children's books. What was your favorite of those books that you wrote?
Probably my second one, which talks about when I went up to space and how fun it was.
Famous figure number 22, Frances Ouimet.
Thank you! Thank you! Here I am on top of a crowd chanting my name. We met! We met! This is a moment I'll cherish forever. Hi, my name is Frances Ouimet, and I just shocked the world by winning the 1913 U.S. Open. I was born May 8th, 1893 in Brookline, Massachusetts. I grew up across the street from the golfers I would caddy on and later win the U.S. Open. On my way to school, I would walk through the rough and gather golf balls for my collection. My dad did not want me to be a golfer. Instead, he wanted me to be a businessman. I started caddying at the age of 11 and got a nickel per round or 18 holes. If a golfer did not want me to caddy for them, I would go and practice my game. I also stayed up late practicing putting in my room. They also practiced in the backyard on the mini golf course I made. I was an outstanding high school golfer, leading me to win the 1910, 1911, and 1912 Massachusetts Amateur. Because of my outstanding high school career, I got a chance to play in the 1913 U.S. Open. My dad did not want me to play in the Open and told me to quit and do something productive, but I did not let that stop me. My toughest competition in the Open was Harry Vardon. At the time, he was the number 1 ranked golfer in the world. And also Ted Ray, a really good pro golfer. I asked my good friend Jack Lowry to caddy for me. But the day of tee-off, Jack does not show up. Instead, his 10-year-old little brother Eddie does. Eddie was the best caddy could ask for. He was kind, encouraging, and also never complained. In the U.S. Open, you play 4 rounds of golf and need to shoot a certain score to advance to the next round. Going to the 4th round, I'm behind Vardon and Ray. The 4th round is a downpour. As Vardon and Ray fail, I succeed. I had a birdie putt on 17, tying Vardon and Ray. In a playoff in the U.S. Open, you play 18 holes. Here I am on the 17th green with a chance to seal the win with the birdie putt. It's good! I win the 1913 U.S. Open and get lifted on top of the crowd and collect money for Eddie. After my win, newspapers are saying a regular guy winning the U.S. Open or Ouimet, the king of amateur golf. After my win, golf popularity skyrocketed in the U.S. I married Stella, Mary Sullivan, and have 2 daughters. I love spoiling my grandkids and spending time with my family. I also started the Ouimet Foundation, which has given 6,630 students a scholarship into college. I sadly passed away September 2nd, 1967. Although I died, I'm sure my legacy will carry on. Next time you're playing golf, whether it's putt-putt or a regular round of 18 holes, thank me. Frances Ouimet for popularizing golf to the common person of the U.S.
What was it like to have a 10-year-old caddy?
It was amazing, and there was an outstanding picture of me next to him on a hole. Go search it up. Yep.
Famous figure number 23, Miss Anne Frank.
Dear Kitty, a lot happened today. Whoa, what are you doing here? Oh, be quiet, the Nazis might hear you. I guess we have some time, so I might as well tell you about my life. Hi, I'm Annalise Marie Frank, but you might know me as Anne Frank. I was born June 12, 1929. My dad is Otto Frank, and my mom is Edith Frank. I had one sister named Margot, who was 3 years older than me. I was born in Frankfurt, Germany, but when I was 4, I moved to Amsterdam in the Netherlands because of the anti-Semitism, which means people were against the Jews, and my family was Jewish. When I turned 13, I got many things for my birthday that I liked, but one thing stood out to me, my diary. My diary was red and white with checkered print. I loved my diary so much, it was my new best friend, and I named it Kitty. On July 5th, my sister Margot got a letter that said she would have to be sent to a German work camp. My family and I did not want that to happen, so we decided to go into hiding, which at the time was called diving. It did not take long to find a place to hide because the place we chose was a small 2-story space within my father's company building. Not too much later, August, Herman, and Peter Van Pelt came to live with us because they were in the same situation as we were. They had to hide because of their religious beliefs. Before they came, Margot and I had to share a room, but after they came, Peter and I shared a room. During the day, we had to be very quiet and could only whisper. If we had to cough, we would have to muffle it so we were not discovered. This was hard because Margot got a lot of colds. I tried to write a lot in my diary to tell about the days while in hiding, and when I did, I went into the attic. After 761 days of hiding from the Germans, in 1944, we got caught. Everyone there was sent to work camps. A few months later, my sister and I died from typhus disease. The only person that made it out of the camps that was hiding with us was my dad. Later, my dad found my diary and published it, which was my dream. Kids around the world still read about my life in my diary, which is now called The Diary of a Young Girl. This has been printed in 70 different languages and read by over 30 million people worldwide. Shh, I hear them coming. I hope they don't find me. I better tell Kitty about my day.
What do you hope that young people can learn from your experiences?
I hope that young people can learn that even during dark times, you can still be happy.
famous figure 24, Miss Dolly Parton.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living.
Oh, howdy y'all. Have y'all ever heard of my music? Well, I'm Dolly Parton. I was born January 19th, 1946 in Pittsmond, Central Tennessee. I'm a famous country singer. Ever heard of me? Well, I guess I have a few minutes before tour to tell y'all a little about my life. I'm going to start with all the accomplishments I've had in my life. I was actually born a year after World War II. Crazy, right? But you might know me from the radio you listen to. I first started playing real music when my Uncle Bill gave me my first guitar. But I started writing songs when I was 5. I've won several Grammys, and I've achieved lots of awards. Also, I've collaborated with the popular Texan jewelry band, Sandra Scott. Now, I'll tell you more. Growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a big supply of food and water, and we had 14 if you count me, living in that small house we had. My daddy was, well, working his head off. He was a farmer, sharecropper, and a construction worker, just to keep our house. And Mama was very good at business and making profit, but I had no space. I soon learned to be grateful I had a roof over my head. But sadly, I lost a lot of my siblings. That's another story. Oh, and I've overcome many challenges, such like poverty, bullying, loss of loved ones, cancer, and sadly on March 3rd, 2025, my latest husband sadly passed away. Yes, I've overcome all these challenges, and now I'm a creator of a website. Now, want to know how important I am? I'm very important from a website, Imagination Library. And if you don't know the amusement park I own, it's called Dollywood. Why I created Dollywood is to celebrate my hometown of Pigeon Forge and the Great Smoky Mountains. And to provide jobs to the local community. Now, I created Imagination Library after my daddy with reading issues to help kids with reading difficulties. I've won several Grammys. Like I said before, I've won several Grammys. I teach people to love themselves. I'm helping children all over the world with reading difficulties. I teach people to follow their dreams. I help children, and I've donated to many charities. A famous quote I once said was, "You'll never do a whole lot unless you're brave enough to try." I guess I have a little bit more time to tell y'all more about me. In the end, I'm Dolly Parton, the kindest and one of the toughest women in the world. I wish people would, some people do, but some men don't really accept that women, like me, can, well, become famous and well known without a man. But I did. So what's that, Lucy? My tour's in 1 minute. I guess I have to go. Thanks for listening to me, y'all. Bye-bye. Tuning my guitar.
Dolly, you wrote a lot of songs. What's your favorite song and why?
Oh, great question. That's very hard. But luckily for you, I have the answer. One of my favorite songs, most favorites, if I do sue myself, is Coat of Many Colors.
We are now ready for famous figure 25, Mr. Chris Kyle.
Shh. Hey, be quiet. I'm on an Overwatch. I'm Chris Kyle. Let me tell you about myself since you're new to our platoon. I was born in Odessa, Texas, April 8th, 1974. My mom was a school teacher and my dad was a Vietnam vet. Growing up, I went to school and worked on our family farm. In my high school years, I was a baseball athlete, riding Broncos or horses to some and doing FFA, Future Farmers of America. I went to Charlton University to study ranch and range management. I dropped out to go to the military. I chose Navy SEALs. I went through a tough and hard training called BUDS, or Basic Underwater Demolition Training. I got assigned to SEAL Team 3. We went to a bar to celebrate. Then I saw the love of my life, Taya. I was with her, then I married her. We had 2 kids together, Colton and McKenna Kyle. After we married, I was sent to Iraq. I did patrols with my team and covered for rooftop security, and I came back home before my second tour. For my second tour, I went to Fallujah. This is where I got my 100th and 101st kill. I also have US's longest sniper shot, which is 1,920 meters. I helped by staying on the ground and covering for rooftop security. Sadly, while I was there, a rocket launcher hit the building that I was in, and hurt my legs for the rest of my service. When I came back, the doctor said I needed surgery, but I declined every time. For my third tour, I went to Ramadi. This is where I did a lot of overwatches and rescue missions. And then I came back home and relaxed. It felt good to be home. For my fourth tour, I went to Baghdad. We worked with the Afghan army. We trained them to clear houses, and we also protected a town too. I left the military to save my marriage and be with my kids. I left with 4 Bronze Stars and 1 Silver Star. I published 2 books, American Sniper and American Gun. I also created a company called Craft International that gives special training to soldiers and helps with PTSD. But sadly and tragically, February 2nd, 2013, I invited Eddie Ray Routh, a soldier with PTSD, to a gun range in Texas. Sadly, he shot me and my friend Chad Littlefield at point-blank range. I'm an American soldier who survived 10 years of war to be gunned down in the country I chose to protect. My funeral was at Dallas Cowboys Stadium. My casket was at the 50-yard line. 7,000 people showed up. After my death, a movie was made of me. Bradley Cooper starred as me, and the name of the movie was American Sniper. My wife started a foundation called Taya and Chris Kyle Foundation. The Legend and Devil Ramadi, out.
Growing up, who did you admire?
I mostly admired my dad because he was a Vietnam vet and he also rode Broncos and did a lot of farming.
Now it's time for famous figure 26, Miss Judy Garland.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was just singing a song I sang when I was younger. My name is Judy Garland. How about I tell you a little bit about my life? I was born on June 10, 1922 in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. My birth name was Frances Ethel Gum.
My parents' names were Francis Avincum, my father, and Ethel Mariangum, my mother. I was the youngest of 3 children. My 2 sisters' names were Mary Jane and Dorothy Virginia. I was born into a showbiz family. At the age of 2, I started performing. Can you believe that? I performed with my 2 sisters at my dad's theater and sang Jingle Bells. I loved it so much, my parents had to practically pull me off the stage. And at that moment, I knew I wanted to be a star. My mom was all about fame. She moved us to California in search of more fame. At the age of 7, me and my sister started a singing and dancing group called the Gum Sisters. At the age of 13 now, I signed my name with the biggest film studio, MGM. Also during that year, my father died of meningitis, but the studio made me change my name to Judy Garland that year. After my father died, my mother made all the decisions, and she wasn't very nice. 2 years later now, at the age of 15, I auditioned for the main role in the upcoming film, The Wizard of Oz, for Dorothy Gale. I was so nervous because 2 amazing fellow actors auditioned as well, Shirley Temple and Deanna Durbin. But you won't believe this. I got the part. I was gonna make Miss Dorothy Gale, and I was gonna make it big, and I did. Just like every great artist, there's some sort of trauma or tragedy. From the moment I signed my name with MGM, I was forced to act a certain way, eat a certain way, and do what I was told. My mother forced me to take diet pills so I wouldn't be hungry, and sleeping pills so I could sleep. From that point on, I got so addicted to the pills that I couldn't be without them. One of my flaws was I hated being alone. I hated it so much that I got married 5 times, then divorced 5 times. I starred in 2 films during those times, A Star is Born and Meet Me in St. Louis, but had 3 beautiful children, Joey and Lorna Luft and Liza Minnelli. After one of my divorces, I was so broke and alone. I had to leave my kids and move to London and get a job. I tried everything to be happy. I gave brilliant sellout concerts in London and made a successful TV appearance. But I was so addicted to drugs and alcohol that unfortunately, at the age of 47, I died of an overdose. I know my life sounds tragic, but it sure wasn't. I had a great life. I mean, I know I had my moments, but there are more wonderful times than bad. I had 3 beautiful children. I was a singer, a performer, a dancer, and I was great at it. I got nominated 20 times and won 13 awards. See, and I even have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. My life was great. I will always be remembered as Miss Dorothy Gale from The Wizard of Oz. Now to leave you with my favorite quote. Always be your first-rate version of yourself instead of being a second-rate version of somebody else. In other words, be yourself. Now I gotta get back home now. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Which of the movies that you were in was your favorite and why?
I played a whole bunch of movies, but probably The Wizard of Oz. I mean, that was the one that made me famous, and it started my whole career.
Famous Figures 27, Rosalind P. Walters.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Ah, well, hello there. I was just on my lunch break, but I guess I have some time to share a little bit about myself. My name is Rosalind P. Walter, but my friends call me Roz. I was born June 25th, 1924, in Brooklyn, New York. As a daughter of a wealthy pharmaceutical CEO, I grew up in high class, as some might say. I attended prep school and had big college plans. Unfortunately, Hitler and his Nazis put a stop to that, but that didn't stop me from following my dreams. I was just 19 years old when I was hired on as a riveter at the Vought Aircraft Company in Stratford, Connecticut, helping put together Corsair fighter planes for our boys overseas. If you didn't know, a riveter drives metal pins or rivets into 2 or more plates to hold them together. Riveting is usually a man's job, but since all the men were off fighting the Nazis, it was up to us women to get the job done. World War II was in full swing. I felt it was my duty to do a job that would help the war effort. I worked the night shift all by myself. Working as a riveter, I fought for equal pay for myself and my fellow lady riveters. I was known for being one of the fastest riveters on the line. I beat all the men's records. This got the attention of a local paper which wrote an article all about me and my impact helping and supporting our country. My efforts in that article inspired 2 fellows by the names of Red Evans and John Lowe to write a song called Rosie the Riveter in 1942. Let me give you a little preview. All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory, Rosie ba-bum, the Riveter. This helped people picture strong, powerful women working hard for their country while men were away at war. And Norman Rockwell, a famous artist, created a picture for the magazine. The Saturday Evening Post was titled, "You Can Do It." This inspired much more women to join the war effort.
Rosie, was there anything that you would change about your life?
I probably would have wanted to go to college, but it was all worth it in the end because I made an impact.
Famous Figure 28, Mr. Alexander Hamilton.
Hello there. My name is Alexander Hamilton, founding father in the face of the $10 bill. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my life from beginning to end. I say I was born on January 11th, 1757, but some historians think I was actually born in 1755. I can go by either one. I really don't mind. I was born on the Caribbean Isle of Nevis. Though I didn't have much schooling, I was a prodigy at reading, writing, and much more. Things weren't always good because eventually my father left. I can't remember when, but I was younger than 9. If you thought my life was going to get any better, then you were wrong. Because when I was around 11, my mother died and a hurricane hit the Isle. When I was 17, I decided I needed a proper education, so I hopped on a ship and set sail for New York City to go to King's College. Soon, word of the revolution was spreading, and I was going to help. On March 1st, 1777, I joined Washington's staff, and during that time, I wrote important letters to officials like sergeants and officers, giving them Washington's commands. In addition, I met Elizabeth Schuyler, Eliza for short. On December 14th, 1780, Eliza and I got married. And on January 22nd, 1782, we had our first son, Philip. Finally, America had won the war and was a new nation, and I was going to get somewhere in it. In November of 1782, I was admitted into Congress and started to work for the new nation. And in September of 1789, I was appointed Secretary of the Treasury. One day, Aaron Burr, a former political rival, wrote to me about how me being a tiebreaker in the election of 1800 had offended him. Burr got mad and challenged me to a duel on July 11th, 1804. As you may have expected, one of us didn't make it out. I passed away on July 12th, 1804. Some of my achievements include founding banks, our current financial system, and I helped write the Constitution. As I once said, a nation's honor is its life. You now know my life story.
Do you have any regrets about your life?
Well, this regret is out of my control, but I wish that I would have lived longer so I could accomplish more.
Famous figure 29, Jackie Stiles.
Then we can continue with our basketball camp. You might have seen me before on articles and on TV. I'm Jackie Stiles, a basketball star and a hometown legend. Oh, you want to hear about my life? Okay, I have a little time. I was born on December 21st, 1978 in Kansas City, but was raised in Claflin, Kansas. I've accomplished lots of successes in my life. You might have seen me play in the WNBA. The first time I won an award, I was excited. Because of this, people and kids think they can do anything after seeing what I did. I had won the Kodak All-American 2001 trophy. I was entered in the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, even scored 56 points in a single division game. But I was most famous for scoring 3,393 points in high school. But I never bragged about how good I was. I always thought there was room for improvement. These are only a few reasons for my fame. About 21 years ago, I got cancer. Have you ever felt sad or defeated? Well, that's how I felt when I got ocular melanoma eye cancer. It was a tough journey to recovery. I was sad when this happened, but that didn't stop me from being myself. Even though I didn't play basketball after that, I can still enjoy it. I overcame cancer, and now I'm cancer-free. You can overcome anything you're going through. My dad, Pat Stiles, was a basketball coach for the Claflin High School. I think this sparked my love for basketball. He was always a big role model for me, and I tried to impact others the way he did me. Michael Jordan was also a big role model, and I looked up to him. The same way they have impacted me to try my best is also how I've been impactful to others. I've been impactful to many by doing basketball camps for kids who might not get them without traveling. I feel like I've made an impact on kids in small towns that they can become amazing. I just wanted to prove to people that you can do it, no matter where you're from, even when people think it's impossible. A quote for a speech that I gave at Missouri State University. To me, this quote means there is no one that should tear you down or stop you from doing anything. Those are some ways I made a difference. In conclusion, I'm Jackie Stiles, a basketball star and a hometown legend. I know anyone can do anything they put their minds to. But one thing for sure you can take from me is that it's not okay to brag and to give it your all. So don't let anything stop you from being the best you can be.
All right, let's go, kids.
Who had the biggest influence on your life so far?
My dad has been the biggest influence on my life because he was always there for me.
In about a few seconds, we're going to have our final contestant of the day. But I just wanted to let everybody know that as soon as our final contestant is completed her performance, we will get the lights back up. You guys are welcome to stretch your legs. We have made up great time, so we're on schedule beautifully. But it will be at least 15 minutes before the tabulations are done down here, and then I transfer those into the scoring rubric we use. So you're welcome to stretch your legs, whatever it is you want to do, but it will be at least 15 minutes, and I'll keep you updated, after we have our final contestant that we are back with our awards presentation. And so again, before we can do an awards presentation, we do have to wrap things up. So it is our final famous figure of the day, contestant figure number 30, Elizabeth Friedman.
Hello there, welcome. I am honored that you've requested an interview with me. Let's start from the very beginning, my childhood. My name is Elizabeth Smith Friedman, and I was born August 26, 1892, to a Quaker family in Huntington, Indiana. My parents had 10 children. I was the 9th. I loved to read, especially poetry. My father did not approve of women going to college, but I was determined to attend. I first attended Wooster College in Ohio for 2 years, but then my mother became terribly ill, so I moved to Hillsdale in Michigan to be closer to home. I had a degree in English literature and graduated in 1915, and I headed to Chicago. At my first job, I was asked to decrypt plays by Shakespeare. I also met my soon-to-be husband, William. We decrypted plays together and even developed secret code for each other to decrypt. One time, we hosted a dinner party where our friends had to crack ciphers to discover where we were eating. Our coding improved, and so did our friendship. The friendship quickly turned to love, and we were married within the year. We had 2 children, Barbara and John Ramsey, our greatest accomplishments. When World War I began, William and I offered our services to the government. We worked for 8 months at the Riverbank Department of Ciphers and 4 years at Black Chamber, and then we later moved to Washington, D.C. to break codes for the Army. In 1927, I became a special agent of the U.S. Treasury. This was the era of prohibition, and organized crime gangs were smuggling alcohol into America. Their coded messages were more complicated than any previous code seen. In my first 3 months, I cracked codes that had remained unsolved for the past 2 years. I cracked over 12,000 messages in my next 3 years, and even testified with evidence in a number of high-profile mobster trials, putting them in prison where they belong. In 1939, World War II began, and the Office of Strategic Services had a few issues on their hands. They did not have a code-breaking unit, and so I had to create it myself. I gathered up many skilled people to form a group called the CIA. My group went to work cracking codes from Nazi spies and even helped the U.S. Post Office decode letters. My greatest contribution to World War II, though, was to crack 3 of the Nazis' infamous Enigma encryption machines. These machines were transmitting encrypted messages between Argentina and Germany. My decoding helped bring an end to World War II. I slowly found time to work for the Coast Guard and even received a master's degree in archaeology. I wrote books about codes and ciphers, including The History of the Alphabet for Children. In 1969, William sadly passed away. On October 31st, 1980, I passed away at the age of 88 in a nursing home in New Jersey. But my legacy is not over yet. In 2015, my files, which were once labeled Top Secret Ultra and locked up in the National Archives, finally became public and the world found out about my hard work. I was a true heroine of both world wars and one of the most gifted and significant codebreakers of all times. Thank you for coming here today. But before I go, I must decode this one final piece.
What do you think you'll be remembered most for?
Come again?
What do you think you will be remembered most for of all the things that you did?
Probably for creating the CIA and helping us win 2 world wars.
So yes, our 15-minute break starts now, but make your way back. We will be having some scores and awarding some talented young folk. Are we good? Okay. All right. We are back. We are back. Everybody, yes, we are back. We just had a lot of very close judging and scoring and breaking it down and a few ties thrown in there, and we don't like to make any mistakes on this, so thank you for your patience. We appreciate it so very much. And before we introduce our incredible contestants, though, I want to send out another big thank you to our sponsors, the Hayes Rotary Club, to our judges today, Johnny Matlock, Janice Lee, Marianne Thompson, and Linda Homan, Deborah Creamer, Administrative Assistant at the Arts Council, for keeping the time on everything. I also want to send a big shout out to the fabulous people that were helping backstage. Sharon Dreyer, board member of the Hayes Arts Council, Ann Staub, our fabulous volunteer who've been helping run everything this morning. And finally, a big shout out to two guys who are always there with everything we need technically, making sure everything goes smoothly, Luke LeCount and Troy Keller from the Beach Schmidt staff. Let's give all those amazing people a big round of applause. They deserve it. They deserve it. And you guys deserve props for being peers to help these people along, for being parents and teachers, because it takes a lot of support to be able to pull off what these guys did. These are 10 and 11-year-old human beings who did something they'd never done before, standing up in front of an audience in a place like this, something that most of the adults have never done. And they did outstanding. I am so proud of them. And not only did they do good when they were on stage, but they behaved off stage with the utmost professionalism and responsibility. They handled it with a great aplomb, and I could not be prouder of this group of young people. They did a marvelous, marvelous job. And now you're going to get to see them, and you're going to get to hear their names, hear their school, as we reiterate their characters, and they all get their gold medals. So Sharon and Ann, you guys need to get over here for medals. We need you in here quickly. We are going to run through all of our wonderful contestants and introduce them so they have their moment. Take pictures if you want, whatever you want to do now. Thank you for everybody, the way you handled it during the show. Like I said, don't forget that live stream. Props also to that for Nick Schween over at Tiger Media Network. We will be having that link posted when I post all the pictures and all the fun stuff that you guys will be able to have to just relive this wonderful day. But first, we are going to introduce our fabulous contestants. And we're starting that off with famous figure number 1, who was from Roosevelt, Dolly Parton, performed by Olivia Dobson. Come on out here, right here to the center, right there to center. Okay, go give her medal in her center. Yeah, you can put it around her or give it to her. And then they will come over and get in line. Okay, there you go. And right over here, Olivia. Right there. Contestant number 2 was from O'Laughlin Elementary. That was Lane Hafner performing as Thomas D. Campbell. Contestant number 3 was from Wilson as Jackie Stiles, Kiefer Kuhn. Number 4 came from Holy Family, and that was as Babe Ruth, Kelton Leglider. And then we had number 5, who came from Lincoln, as Cleopatra. It was Farida Hasham. Number 6 came from Roosevelt as Bethany Hamilton, Brinley Johnson. Number 7 was from Victoria as Temple Grandon, Macy Heyer. Contestant number 8 came from O'Laughlin as Dr. Muhammad Yunus, Muhammad Cameron. Contestant number 9 was from Washington Grade School in Ellis as Annie Oakley, Morgan Howland. Famous figure number 10 was from Wilson as Marie Curie June Stremel. Number 11 was from St. Mary's in Ellis as Desmond Doss Coleman Downing. Number 12 from Holy Family, Laura Ingalls Wilder, portrayed by Catherine Marinser. Figure 13 was from Roosevelt as Lucille Ball, Landry Callahan. Contestant 14 was from O'Laughlin, and that was George Washington Carver, portrayed by Evander Brannaman. Contestant 15, closing out our first half, was from Wilson. As Amelia Earhart, it was Aaliyah Reuter. We started the second half with contestant 16 from O'Laughlin as Betty White, Michaela Karst. Contestant 17 was from Wilson as Charles Darwin, Nigel Williams. Number 18 came from Holy Family as Sunisha Sunili Jade Whitmer. Contestant 19 came from Roosevelt as Queen Elizabeth I, Camilla Munch. Contestant 20 was from Victoria as Wilt Chamberlain, Brady Schmeidler. Contestant 21 was from Lincoln as Sally Ride, Chloe Bartling. Contestant 22 came from O'Laughlin, and as Frances We Met, that was Griffin Dietz. Contestant 23 came from Washington in Ellis as Anne Frank Addison McMillan. Famous figure 24 came from Wilson as Dolly Parton, Lacey McGrath. Famous figure 25 came from Roosevelt, and that was Jace Carley as Chris Kyle. And then we had contestant 26 from Holy Family as Judy Garland, Lola Gerber. From St. Mary's in Ellis as Rosalind P. Walter, it was Hattie Deitcher. Famous figure 28 came from Roosevelt as Alexander Hamilton, Solomon Neely. Contestant 29 was from Wilson as Jackie Stiles, Emma Dickman. And our final contestant from O'Laughlin as Elizabeth Friedman, it was Hannah Lormeyer. And what we're going to do is, we're right about, let's see, we're going to get 2 rows here. Okay, what we need you to do is, you need to come up here. You guys all move over. We want everybody to be seen, so if anybody wants to get, okay, come follow me, right here. Come here, stand next to, yeah. Just row, in other words, just row, step up. I want you to be seen. I don't want you to be buried in the curtain, so just stand there, okay? And then you guys move down so that we're not, yeah. So move down here a little bit. Yeah, come down so that you guys can be up here, yeah. Just so that we can kind of see everybody in 2 rows when we're doing this. Leave some room. Yeah, move over there a little bit. All righty. Okay, but you guys, I just wanted to make sure we got everybody up here because this is a pretty amazing group. And before we start handing out the awards, which always makes everybody sometimes a little emotional because it's like everybody wants to take home one of the trophies. Well, today there'll be a few more taking them home because that was part of the issue back there. We had a number of ties. So when we get ties, we don't break ties. So I just order more trophies. And that's the way to do it. And everybody deserves one, but you can only go down the line so far because they were all amazing. I'm sure your scoring probably different from the judges. Some of the judges had things very lined up and similar. In some areas, they differed. That's a tough job. Nobody wants that job, but I had amazing people doing it, and I'm so, so grateful. And before we do give out the awards, I do want to reiterate that on Monday at the Rotary Club meeting, our Famous Figures trophy winners, if somebody can't be there, it's not the end of the world, but we ask that all the Famous Figures trophy winners come to, and I'll be sending notes out. I'll be getting in touch with the principals. Be at the, Janice, are you guys still at Verdant Bistro? Yep. Verdant Bistro, the former press there on 8th Street. That's where the Rotary meets, and our trophy winners will be performing again on Monday at the Rotary. There won't be any questions, and we'll have, minimal props and table thing there, but we will be doing that on Monday, so if you're connected to a young person that gets a trophy, keep that in mind. We'll be getting more info. But before we go and before anybody's sad that they didn't get a trophy or over jubilant because they did, let's give these 30 amazing young people another round of applause. They were outstanding. So this is the part everybody's waiting for. We're going to start with 5th place. And yes, at 5th place we had a tie. And the first of those fifth, and what happens is we'll have those trophies. Whoever doesn't get trophies today because of the ties, they will receive theirs at the Rotary meeting on Monday. So they'll actually get to be recognized in that capacity twice. But the first of our 5th place trophies is going to contestant 23 as Anne Frank, Addison McMillan from Washington. Go to the center. Go to the center there. Right here at the center. Right here at the center. Congratulations to our first 5th place winner. And then like I said, we had a tie. And so also receiving a 5th place award is contestant 26 from Holy Family, Judy Garland, portrayed by Lola Gerber. And again, Lola, you will be receiving yours on Monday. And then let's see, in 4th place, fortunately, no tie there because we got more to come, folks. 4th place from St. Mary's in Ellis as Rosalind P. Walter, Hattie Deitcher, 4th place. In 3rd, we had a tie. And our 3rd place winners are, and we've got, 2 of them, I think. Because some of them got a lot of them. And that is, our first 3rd place winner is from O'Laughlin, contestant 22, as Frances We Met, Griffin Dietz. And also receiving 3rd place, getting trophy though on Monday, is contestant number 6 from Roosevelt, Brinley Johnson as Bethany Hamilton. And then we move to 2nd, and we have 3-way tie. So yeah, we're going to start Rotary meeting earlier than we normally do, that's for sure. And the first of those 2nd place ties goes to contestant 2 from O'Laughlin, Thomas D. Campbell, Lane Hafner. Also receiving his 2nd place award is contestant 14, also from O'Laughlin, George Washington Carver, portrayed by Evander Branneman. Okay, you'll get it Monday. And wrapping it up for 2nd place, also getting the trophy on Monday, contestant 30 from O'Laughlin, Hannah Lormeyer as Elizabeth Friedman. And again, those trophies will be there on Monday. First place, no tie, but it goes to contestant number 8 from O'Laughlin, Dr. Muhammad Yunus by Muhammad Cameron. And these, ladies and gentlemen, are this year's trophy winners. Let me get a shot right here, guys. Everybody look here for just a second, all you trophy winners there. Okay. Big round of applause for all of them. And again, as you guys know, in fact, there are a number of other students who probably received rankings someplace, but it's just the way the chips fell. But another round of applause for all these amazing young people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Families, teachers, you can connect with your young people. You can get pictures. You can do whatever you like. We've got a little time before we have to be out of here. Thank you all so much for being here to share this day with them. Much appreciated.